close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel, Meet the Bratchers. So it's good to be back. I haven't been vlogging in a while. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below. By the title of this video, I'm asked questions about when I was pregnant at 19. So you'll be hearing questions throughout this vlog. So without further ado, let's get on. So when I first got pregnant, I was a young teenager. I hadn't been long graduating from high school. I had moved to Tennessee with my father because my sister had to graduate from high school, and my mom didn't want me to stay there and be a distraction to her throughout her senior year. So when my dad came for my graduation, I went back with him and moved to Tennessee. Well, my brother came through with a friend, and they were coming through to drive to Colorado, so they stopped through Tennessee from North Carolina. And hey, I'm young, I didn't have anything else to do, so I rode along with them so I could go and see my family in Colorado. So I rode with them, and that's how me and my husband met, through my brother, in which my brother was in the military. I didn't stay in Tennessee. I actually wanted to stay in Colorado, but my mom assured me again, you know, I need her to graduate. You know, you're an adult, you know, let me get her graduated. So your brother needs you. So I continued on and came and actually moved to North Carolina. And that's how our journey began. We were young parents, but we knew there was something special about each other. But he was in church, I wasn't. I went to church growing up a few times. We had family members that always would take us to church and things like that. And I was saved. I gave my life to Christ, but I wasn't living it out because we didn't have people around me that were saved as well to hold me accountable. So I was just still in the world, really. But he came from a very spiritual background, ministers, pastors, all through his family. And so that's how we really basically connected. It was a God connection, but we were so young, and things just got ruined after I found out I was pregnant. The enemy was busy. Just so happened to leave North Carolina, not willingly. I didn't know, but my father was on his way to pick me up. So I had to get in the car and go. We weren't doing too well anyway. We were young. We didn't have a plan. We didn't have anything that we could be grounded and rooted on anyways to become young parents. So I ended up leaving, and that's how we split for a while. But he had been assured at the time that we met in Colorado, when we got there, that the Lord had told him that I was his wife. Well, I didn't get that, so I didn't know, but I knew it was something different about him. And you know, you go on being young, you're dating other people, and you're trying to find that same connection, and you were never going to find it because it was a God connection, as I said before. So I knew then that I had something different that I would never experience from anyone else. So when I had Chyna, I was still young. At this point, I moved back to Colorado because it was my first child. I was very sick. My grandmother was older, and you know, she really couldn't help me with that process because I was laying around being sickly and things like that. And my grandmother, she was older, so she was like, you should go back home with your mom so she can further help you be a new mom. So that's what I did. I went back to Colorado at that point. I left Tennessee. I moved there on welfare, you know, just trying to make it. I really didn't have a plan still, but I had Chyna. She was our firstborn, and Chyna was a full-term baby, but she was only 5 pounds 2 ounces. Being that I'm giving birth, I'm a small young girl, you know, so that was my capacity, I guess, 5 pound little baby. Um, just having her still, you know, I still didn't have a plan until one day I just decided, you know, this isn't going to work for me. I got to do something more for myself and more for her. Her father was still going through, he's a young dad in North Carolina, trying to, you know, get himself together. And it was rough for him. And I knew that if he could support me and help me, he would. And that's one thing I knew about him. So I never pressured him to pay child support or anything like that. I knew whatever he could come up with that he was going to give for me. So I didn't sit around and wait for that. I started just finding little jobs, odd and end jobs, and then working my way to a fabulous job. That job was mutual funds. So we were responsible of moving people's money and taking their checks and putting them in these accounts, retirement accounts, savings accounts, different accounts like that, bonds, stocks. It was very, very difficult. I was very frustrated because the training was so intense. And I wanted to quit. I talked to the trainer. I was crying. I said, hey, this is too much. I can't do this. She said, please just give me a few more days. I promise you, you're almost done. You're doing great. Just don't quit. And so I hung through the training, and I'm so glad that I did, because it's the best job I ever had. Made really, really, really good money. And it was just me and Chyna. So being able to support her at that time, it was awesome, because like I said, I struggled before, but at that point we were in the money. So I enjoyed that job, and that's when I was beginning to take care of her. But it went for a turn after that, because once I started getting money, I wasn't a good steward. I wasn't very nice and kind to people. I kind of shunned on people that shunned on me, that didn't want to help me when I needed help. And so I kind of got very snooty and stuck up because of it. And boy, was I wrong about that. So it took a spin. Everything I had, my furniture, clothes, toys, everything that I purchased with all of that money got stolen from me, because I was evicted from my apartment. They set my things out on the curb, and the neighborhood took whatever they wanted. My baby had to watch a kid ride her bike through the neighborhood. It's very devastating, and that was the pinnacle of my life, that my life changed to where I had to yield to the Lord. And so it was a very difficult point in my life. I lost everything. Then later on, you know, God was still dealing with me about losing my apartment and everything I had. And I went through that. It was devastating, because I was disobedient. I wasn't heeding to the word of God, what God had told me to do. I didn't do it. And so the consequences were very great, and I ended up losing everything. So again, I hope you enjoyed this story. My life did turn around. I got married to my first child's dad. We're married. We have 2 other children, and we are the Bratchers. So if you like the story, make sure that you like and subscribe, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.